From Washington, this is VOA News. Coming up, U.S. Pakistani relations discussed at the White House. Peace push for Syria continuing. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Norman. Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif met at the White House Wednesday with President Obama, seeking to turn a page in the often rocky relationship between Washington and Islamabad. As a sign of improvement in U.S. Pakistani ties, the Obama administration moved to release more than $300 million in block security assistance to Pakistan. Relations hit bottom after the 2011 U.S. Special Forces strike deep inside Pakistan that killed Osama bin Laden, and a U.S. airstrike last year that killed 24 Pakistani soldiers along the Afghan border. President Obama told German Chancellor Angela Merkel the United States is not monitoring her communications. He spoke Wednesday with Chancellor Merkel by telephone regarding allegations that the U.S. National Security Agency intercepted her cell phone calls. Both leaders agreed to intensify their intelligence cooperation to protect the security of both countries and their allies and the privacy of their citizens. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the Iranian nuclear issue can be resolved diplomatically, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is calling for the dismantlement of Iran's controversial program. The two men made their remarks Wednesday in Rome. Secretary Kerry said the international community is concerned that Iran will not be allowed to develop atomic weapons.
While we welcome, and we do welcome, the change of rhetoric, the change of tone, the diplomatic opening that the Iranians have offered through President Rouhani and Foreign Minister Sharif, we have made clear, and we are adamant, that words are no substitute for actions.
Prime Minister Netanyahu echoed the U.S. position.
The foremost security problem that we face, as you said, is Iran's quest for nuclear weapons. Preventing that is a goal I share with you and President Obama. And you have said, I think wisely, that Iran must not have a nuclear weapons capability.
Iran says its nuclear ambitions are peaceful. Iran's been hit with Western sanctions after refusing to halt uranium enrichment. UN and Arab League envoy Lakhdar Brahimi is pushing forward with a regional tour aimed at building support for a Syrian peace conference amid lingering questions about who would take part and under what conditions they would. He met Wednesday with officials in Jordan to discuss the proposed conference for negotiating a political solution for Syria. Mr. Brahimi also plans to visit Qatar, Turkey, Iran, and Syria before holding meetings in 2 weeks with the members of the UN Security Council. That meeting would be in Geneva. 2 Chadian soldiers are dead after a suspected militant attack on a military checkpoint in northern Mali. Investigators say at least 6 other soldiers were wounded in the attack Wednesday in the town of Tessalit. Local officials say 1 civilian was killed. Security officials say suicide bombers detonated a car filled with explosives, and the militants retreated during an exchange of gunfire with soldiers. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyattas' trial date at the International Criminal Court is now less than 3 weeks away. He's accused of orchestrating violence after Kenya's 2007 presidential election that killed more than 1,100 people. Mr. Kenyatta characterizes the charges as a neo-colonialist attack on his country. VOA's Gabe Joslow has more.
Mr. Kenyattas' trial is due to begin November 12th at the ICC in The Hague, where the Deputy President William Ruto is currently attending proceedings in a separate but similar case against him. Meantime, Kenya and the African Union have been lobbying the United Nations Security Council to have the case deferred for a year, citing concerns about security in Kenya and the region. The The requests follow September's terrorist siege on a Nairobi shopping mall attributed to the Somalia-based militant group Al-Shabaab. The argument is sitting leaders cannot react and handle future security threats if they're out of the country for prolonged trials. Gabe Joselo, VOA News, Nairobi.
Britain's 3-month-old future monarch was christened at a small ceremony in central London on Wednesday, where he first made his public appearance since his birth in July. Prince George was seen in the arms of his father, Prince William, and his wife, Kate, as they arrived at the Chapel Royal at St. James Palace. For Wednesday's traditional Anglican Christian ceremony, the infant was wearing a white satin gown, a replica of the one made by Queen Victoria's eldest daughter in 1841. This is VOA News.